I'm Cassie and we are at day 3 of the challenge and we're sitting here with Shelley. Hi Shelley.
Hi everyone.
So we're going to talk all about day 3. Just a reminder that today our gratitude focus is on saying thank you to the seemingly insignificant. That means saying thank you to all the little things. That might be to the running water that you have, your breath, the fact that you've got a roof over your head, the beautiful weather outside or the terrible weather outside. It's just giving thanks to everything around you. Okay, so if you haven't listened to the gratitude and watched the gratitude video, it's definitely really good to watch that. You probably need to go into about the 15 to 18 minute mark. So at the 10-minute mark is the end of day 1, so you can find your little piece in there. Okay, so Shelley and I are going to be talking very briefly about stress, the causes, well, not so much the causes of stress, but what happens when we're stressed in our bodies and how we can kind of interrupt that stress to lower it straight away and immediately so we can actually function as normal human beings, right?
Yeah.
So you probably know, guys, that carers and parents are at super high risks of developing chronic conditions, so mental and physical health conditions, much more than the general population. So whilst we're caring for people, we are at really high risks of developing our own conditions, and there is about 50% of the population who do have their own chronic health conditions according to the latest data. So it is a real risk, and that's why it's so important, and we're really focusing in today on some very specific information for you to try and implement today, or just to give you some ideas for your toolbox for when you are stressed. It's something really easy and simple that you can go to straight away. Right, Shelley?
Yep.
Yeah. So, Shelley, as an expert in this field, especially around chronic health management, what happens in the body when we're stressed? What happens short-term stress versus long-term stress?
Great question. So short-term stress is when our brain tells us that it recognises something as being a threat or a fear, and the way our brain processes that is that it doesn't take it necessarily from visual cues. It takes it from a response that you may have had in the past. So what that does is it sends down through your nervous system into your gut and into all different parts of your body. It sets off a response and releases hormones, basically adrenaline. And also oxytocin, which I'll talk about later, but adrenaline is the one that most people focus on. And what that does is it actually increases your heart rate, which then in turn goes up sends more signals to your brain. And what it actually does is it cuts off the frontal part of your brain. Actually, it basically gives you a self-lobotomy. So what stress does is when you in that situation, it actually shuts down the front part of your brain, so your basic fight or flight response kicks in. So it says something here isn't good and I need to get away or I need to fight it. So that's
danger.
Yeah, exactly. Danger. And because a good way of putting it is we're basically living with 200,000-year-old software, because that's how we're built way back when, right?
Absolutely.
But we're using that old software in like new us. So we're designed more now. We've got so many different emotions. Like I think last count was 34,000 emotions we can actually feel as human beings. So, but stress doesn't know that. Stress is stress. The stress response is what it is. It hasn't changed. So we have evolved as people, but our response to stress hasn't evolved. So what we might have seen in the past as a bear and gone, oh my God, it's a bear, we need to run. Whereas these days we'd go, oh, it's a bear. Okay, can I reason with the bear? Maybe I can have a chat to the bear and see how he's feeling, if there is some way I can get out of this situation. But that's not how our body, unfortunately, is wired. So we just go into that stress response.
So it's designed to keep us safe, right?
Absolutely. It's designed to keep you safe. So it's actually a good thing. Stress is a good thing. It's because it's helpful because it helps get you out of those situations where you might be in danger. So say, for instance, you see if there's a car coming towards you and you've got time to jump out of the way. That's because your brain processes things at such a high speed, like billions of bits per second, that it can sort of already see that coming, and that's why it's really awesome. So stress is and should be your friend, but it's when that stress doesn't wind down, usually about 60 minutes, after an initial, like an acute stress response, your body should be going back into its normal sort of rhythm. So that's when, over time, if that continues, that becomes chronic stress, and that's when we can get into huge trouble, especially with the chronic illness side.
So we're talking, days, weeks, months. We're talking chronic stress over a prolonged period of time can put us in huge danger. So some of the things that we might see, manifest as symptoms might be sleep problems, issues with our immune system. So we catch colds easy and infections and that sort of thing. What else, have you seen develop from this? Like we were saying, there's chronic health conditions and
so you can link it back to just about any type of illness. I mean, there's always a way you can find to link it back, but it's depression and the anxiety. It's huge, and usually they'll go hand in hand with other chronic illnesses anyway. So it's hard to know which one came first, the chicken or the egg, but basically they go together. So
and sorry, you go.
No, that's all right.
I was just going to say, you were talking about the links between the brain and the digestive system as well. And so we might see, rapid weight gain or rapid weight loss and issues with blood sugar and that sort of thing as well. So it basically shuts down the digestive system as well, doesn't it?
It does, because when you're in fight or flight mode or in a high stress situation, it actually shuts down all the non-necessary, what the body sees as like they're not necessary for that moment. So being able to digest food isn't important when you're needing to run away and you're in that danger response. So that's definitely, so it can really muck with your gut and the inflammation response and all those type of things that can be linked to other types of diseases. So it's not good on any level.
No, it's not. And so this is a topic we could talk about forever and a day, but what we're going to talk about right now is how to try and manage an acute phase stress situation, So perhaps you've been delivered bad news, you've got some anxiety happening, things are just getting all a little bit much and you feel like your head's spinning or you're about to lose it. What can we do from a practical standpoint right then and there to help lower our stress levels? And I expect that this is relevant for everyone, not just carers, but everyone in the family, everyone that we see, right?
People like having to do live interviews or go on stage and things like that too. Absolutely. Well, the best thing that you can do in the immediate situation is actually just as simple as breathing. Now, that might sound really like breathing, but I'm breathing anyway, but it's not. It's the actual type of breathing that you're doing. So there are different types of methods that people say to use. That can be like taking in and breathing from the heart or breathing deep belly breaths. But no matter how you're breathing in and out, the secret is to keep it rhythmic. That is, so we're keeping it. So if you're breathing in for 4, breathe out for 4, or breathe in for 5, breathe out for 5. Just keep that rhythm going and keep it going over, for a couple of minutes. Obviously,
so slow and steady. So we're not like that's going to
exacerbate it. That's actually going to make it worse.
Exactly. So we sort of want prolonged in and out.
Yes, in and out. So whether that's deep belly breathing or from the heart or whatever, it's whatever works for you, because everybody's different and everybody has a different way of coping in those situations. So I can't give one definite thing. The definite thing is though breathing rhythmically.
However that works for you,
however
right?
That works, exactly. However it works for that person.
And
the great thing with that is it's also something you can practice, so that over time, when you become faced with more stressful situations, which is going to happen, right? Because it's life, and especially when you're caring for people that have illnesses, it's just inevitable. But the more you practice this, the more you'll notice when you get faced with those situations is it'll just automatically click in and you won't even know that you're doing it.
Yeah.
Your body will actually believe that you can cope with that because, you know, you've made stress your friend, so therefore you'll be able to cope in those situations, which is awesome news.
It is, it's great. And I'm absolute, and myself and my children are absolute evidence to that. So I don't know, there must have been something innate within me after I had my children. I just knew how much the power of breath helped me, you know, through my labour and delivery. And so when Matthew started going into the hospital and having lots of procedures and, you know, really painful and confronting and scary procedures for toddlers and young children, we really worked on focus of breathing and just focusing really steady in and out. So, and at the time I didn't know that was a great way to handle stress. It was just something that we could focus on and has worked incredibly well. And he manages himself in the hospital so well with that kind of thing because of that and because he was taught at such a young age. And so that's why I sort of say to people, you know, this, you don't need it just for you with your kids or your husband or whomever. It's a great practice to get into.
It's fabulous, especially if you're dealing with, especially for kids, like fantastic for mums and dads that might be watching out there, for kids that may be being bullied at school or those type of situations as well. But just teaching them that breathing exercise to get them through maybe like a scary situation that has seen awesome results too. So,
yeah, absolutely. My other favourite, if all else fails, is drop down on the floor, lay on the earth and breathe that way, right? So obviously not drop down on the floor, but really ground yourself is laying down with the breath, but laying down on the ground, even if you can't get on the grass or whatever, but out in a star shape and just stopping.
Because it opens
it all
up. It opens it all up, and then you're focusing on your breathing and whatever else is going around you. Probably wouldn't recommend it if you're in the middle of Coles, like maybe doing your shopping, but that would be hilarious.
but that's why breath is so good.
To do that.
That's why breath is so good, because people can't see it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's personal and it's your own thing. And I know I do it when I'm getting a little bit stroppy in the hospital because people aren't listening to me. I gather myself with my breath first and then I can think, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm not freaking out.
And it's free and you don't need to do a 10-week course to learn how to do it. So
yep. Perfect. All right, we're going to leave it there because we do want to keep it simple. So your action is basically that is if you're really stressed out yesterday, breathe. And look, if you've got that chronic stress going on and you just feel like you need to bring yourself back down and calm, do that. Find a piece of ground somewhere and get back down to nature and breathe.
Yeah.
All right, so Shelley's going to pop back in tonight and she's going to talk to you on live, on her very first live cross. So if you've got any questions or you want to ask any, detailed information or let us know how you're going or whatever, she's going to be on somewhere between, say, 7:30 and 8 o'clock.
Yep, that's right.
Perfect.
Any questions, I'm happy to answer. If I've touched on anything here because we had to keep it brief that you want to know more about, hit me up.
Absolutely. There's so much to say. All right. Thank you, Shelley. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.